We saw the tweets, the reports that were floating around yesterday, basically after this terrible opening and people knowing that there's no way Blue Beetle is going to make money now with this horrendous, worst DCEU opening in history. It's the 7th DCEU movie in a row that has failed. You have to go back to 2019 to Shazam before you have a movie that was actually profitable for them at the box office. Just take a look at these numbers. It's almost impossible to imagine. Blue Beetle, The Flash, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, Black Adam, The Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 1984, and Birds of Prey. 7 in a row that have lost money at the box office. Now, a couple right here. Suicide Squad, Woman 84 obviously have that COVID asterisk. You know, they had the day and date release on HBO Max. Theaters weren't necessarily at capacity for these things, especially Wonder Woman 1984. So at least you have, some wiggle room with those and some sort of relevant excuse. The others, 7 in a row. The Batman was thrown in there. That was a financial success, but that is out of this universe. And now Blue Beetle is just the next in this list.
Why has it got the Batman Part 2 listed then if the Batman Part 1 is not in the universe?
I just think it's because they put through a random hate in production for DC and they don't know. Okay. But yeah, you can see the Batman is not on this list.
Right.
It's outside.
Absolutely.
Same way Joker's not here. But it just kind of does make you wonder, how hard is this job going to be for James Gunn, and how much damage is he doing to his own credibility throughout this entire thing? Even though these movies were not made under the vision of James Gunn, he's been an important part of their strategies in terms of cuts that they've made, edits that they've made, marketing decisions, things like that. And, once again, James Gunn, before this came out, said it's one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, one of the best superhero movies. And we're definitely going to have Jaime Reyes, Zolo Maradueño's Blue Beetle in our universe going forward. And it just is reminding people, he said the same thing about The Flash, that it was one of the best superhero movies ever made. And now you're starting to see a lot of the things that he said or done getting picked apart, starting with the Henry Cavill situation. We had the Gal Gadot confusion where she came out and said she talked to James Gunn and she said that she's going to be there. And then we got reports from Warner Brothers saying that's not true. Now you have stuff like this, James Gunn saying he's not making a young Superman movie despite ditching Henry Cavill. This was a conversation surrounding Blue Beetle and the Superman references in Blue Beetle. Someone said, hey, where does this take place? As if it's your young Superman, does it take place in the past? He's like, I never said I was making a young Superman movie. And people are like, well, you fucking did. That's why you said you recast Henry Cavill. And James Gunn said, well, I meant at an earlier stage in his career, not younger. It's like, holy fuck, dude. The constant twisting of the narratives when it comes to James Gunn is already pissing people off when it comes to DC, and he hasn't even made a movie yet.
With that said, as far as the DC, whatever it's going to be called moving forward, here's what I think is we had to think about. The Batman did well and Joker did phenomenal. So DC properties, when they have the right marketing and when they have the right story and everything like that, it can overcome all the other nonsense. So I guess what this comes down to is, how good is James Gunn's Superman movie going to be? And if it's good, I think the casting just based on appearance looks really good. It really comes down to, if the movie's good, then DC characters can still bring it. But my God, man, it is a disaster right now. And they should blow the whole thing up. Like, wouldn't they have been better off if they just didn't release The Flash and took the loss, and didn't release Blue Beetle and just took the loss at this point?
Probably. Obviously, we kind of have to wait and see how things shake out, but say The Flash. And also, recently we got an update, one that we've been talking about for a long time. But again, a lot of the trades try to protect these studios. The report that The Flash is only like a $200 or $220 million movie, that's not true. It's over $300 million and likely more. That recently came out. But say if the marketing for that movie was $150 million, like on par with Disney movies, it didn't make that much money back. You know what I mean? So like, you would have actually been better off just fucking eating it. Just eating the entire production budget, maybe doing a write-off like they did with Batgirl or something like that. And Blue Beetle, who knows? I don't know what the marketing is for a Blue Beetle. We've been in the dark a little bit about that. Say the marketing for that movie was $75 million and it doesn't make at least $150 million at the box office, then yeah, you would have been better off not marketing at all, just eating the production costs, and you would have lost less money.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's going to be weird to see how he approaches this move forward from a messaging standpoint, from a continuity standpoint. It's a disaster. It's all over the place. I think there might be more pressure on his Superman movie than any Superman movie we've seen. If you go back to Superman Returns, where were you at when Superman Returns?
Superman Returns was like, what, 2006 or something?
Yeah.
I didn't hate Superman Returns or anything like that. I kind of shrugged my shoulders and like moved on.
I remember the discussion surrounding Superman Returns. Superman Returns had a lot of hype,
To
and it
me,
did nothing. It did nothing. Like it kind of came and went once it released.
well, the trailer is the thing I remember more than anything
Oh,
else.
they were
The
so
bullet,
good. They were
right?
so
Like
good.
that the trailer was cool, but the movie itself, it felt like it was a Christopher Reeve impersonation. That was the point. Superman Returns, it's that iteration of Superman, but it never felt right. It just felt weird. I felt like they
Yeah.
should have just kind of done their own thing and started something new. And I
Yeah.
did like that Brandon Routh got a chance to be Superman again in the Arrowverse.
Yep.
As terrible as a lot of the final, years of the Arrowverse were, I thought that was awesome.